In this video, we have a look at the total surface area of a triangular prism. A triangular prism has a base figure that is a triangle, and this is then stretched out to form a prism with triangles on either side. When a triangular prism is folded open to form its net, you will see that it consists of two identical triangles and three rectangles. The three rectangles will be identical rectangles if the triangle is an equilateral triangle. For a scalene triangle, there will be three unique or different rectangles. Let's go and have a look at the calculations. Calculate the total surface area of each of the given shapes. Our first shape is a triangular prism with a scalene triangle as its base shape. That means each rectangle will be unique. To determine the total surface area of this triangular prism, I'm going to start off with the area of that triangle, which will be the formula half times by the base times by the perpendicular height of that triangle. Now you need to remember that we have two of these triangles, so you need to double this area. Then we need to add the area of each of the rectangles. So I'm going to have the length of the first rectangle multiplied with the breadth plus the length of the second one multiplied with the same breadth, and then the length of the third rectangle multiplied by the breadth. You can of course choose to simplify the 2 times a half in your next step, and now I'm going to substitute the base and height of the triangle. This triangle's base side is 10 and its perpendicular height 6, which I'm going to substitute into the formula. Next, I'm going to determine the area of the rectangle at the bottom. This bottom rectangle has a length of 10 and a breadth of 15, so my area will be 10 times 15. Next, I'm going to determine the area of the rectangle at the back of the shape, which has a length of 9, which I'm going to multiply by the breadth. And finally, we have the rectangle at the front of the shape, and this rectangle is an 11 by 15 rectangle. The total surface area of this triangular prism is then 510 centimeters squared. Our second example is also a triangular prism, which is just positioned different to the first one. Here, however, you need to realize that there are different units given in the sketch. So, before determining the area, you need to ensure that all the lengths are in the same unit. I'm going to rewrite all the lengths in terms of meters. So, 1,600 centimeters needs to be divided by 100 and will then be 16 meters. 34,000 millimeters needs to be divided by 1,000 to change to meters, and that will be 34 meters. Next, focusing only on the triangle, you need to realize that we only have 2 of the 3 side lengths. In the triangle, which is a right-angled triangle, we have the hypotenuse as 34 centimeters and one of the shorter sides as 16 meters. Now, however, when we want to determine the area of the triangle, we need the base and the perpendicular height, which means we need to determine the length of the third side. I'm going to call this side side x. So, starting off Pythagoras, I take the square, and that will be equal to the hypotenuse squared minus the other shorter side squared. To calculate x, I'm going to put this value in a square root, and this will give me the value of x as 30 meters. Now we can move on to calculating the total surface area of this prism. Again, we have 2 triangles. For the triangle, we have the formula half times the base, which in this case is 16, multiplied by the perpendicular height, which we calculated as 30. Remember that the 30 is the perpendicular height inside the triangle. Now we move on to our 3 rectangles. The first rectangle I'm going to calculate is the one right in front of the shape. This is a 34 by 36 rectangle, so my next area will be 34 times 36. Then to the back we have a rectangle on the left hand side, and this is a 36 by 30 rectangle. And lastly, on the right we have a rectangle that is a 16 by 36 rectangle. And when you calculate this, you will see that the total surface area is 3,360 meters squared.